Boys, I've got a rant today. Punishing One just came out, and we already have an investigation going on about it beating Leviathan. And my question is, why was this not caught in testing? Genuinely. Like, put yourself in the shoes of a game tester for Galaxy of Heroes. And your boss comes to you and says, hey, we're going to release the Punishing One as a new ship. The development team has already started it. We're getting ready to launch it for the Executor fleet. We need you to test it. Here's like a starting kit. Go test it. Tell me, what are the first couple battles you're going to load up? Because for me, Leviathan is one of the first battles I'm loading up. Then I'm testing Profundity. Then I'm testing the Executor Mirror. Then I'm testing it against Chimera. But like, Leviathan is your most recent capital ship. It's your most exclusive capital ship. It's the first battle I'm loading up. And they're concerned about it beating it. And yeah, maybe you don't do the 3-star testing as your first thing. Maybe you just assume, hey, I want to test the power of it at 7 stars and see how it is. If it's just totally broken at 7 stars, we might need to scale it back and then scale back the stats at the lower stars. But Arnold is streaming his testing right now, and he was like, oh, you know what we should do? We should test 3 stars because we're going to do this as a marquee event. And so I'm a rational person with a decent head on my shoulders. I'm going to decide to test this at the amount that you were giving it to every single player in the game that plays the game. How did we not catch this? And if this was like a one-time thing where CG had been super consistent and then just something got slipped in testing, I would understand it. But I present to you Exhibit B. This guy, Moroq, recently came to the game and has this unique ability, Patience, where it dispels debuffs from a random Inquisitorious ally whenever a stack of Purge is consumed or dispelled by any Inquisitorious ally. I zoomed too much. But I have to reiterate my point here. Oh, you can't even see it. By any Inquisitorious ally. That's not how it's working again. We've already seen that this is not how this is working. And instead, it is just dispelling whenever it's consumed by anybody or dispelled by anybody. And so, this is what we had last season, last 5v5, for Phoenix against Reva. 51% win rate, so not like the most consistent counter ever, but a fairly decent counter. And you throw an L3 in there or Geo Brute Alpha, and it usually helps out a little bit. And depending on the comp that they're running, it can help out more or less. So like Night Sister's not the ideal comp, but so it gets a little higher win rate. But anyways, 51%, a very budget counter, a very decent option that we've been using forever. And we looked at Moroq's kit and we said, oh, that shouldn't change anything. Psych. Nobody's running it anymore. And yes, we only have 4 battles here before someone said, hey man, it's only 4 battles. Well, guess what? Everyone saw this battle right here by this guy and decided, oh, I'm going to put my Moroq on defense. So I guarantee you when the numbers come out from this round of GAC, this number will be much higher, where we have a lot more battles of Moroq on defense with Reva, shutting down this counter entirely. And this sucks. This was like one of our best counters. And I would be fine. I wouldn't be fine with it, but it'd be okay if it wasn't a part of the kit that wasn't working as intended. And again, put yourself in the shoes of a game tester for this game. If you get news that, hey, we're going to make this new character, Moroq, he's going to have synergies with both Balin, who's coming out later, and we have some synergies that are going to be with the Inquisitors. We want you to test this out and just see how it affects different matchups for the Inquisitors and for the Mercenaries. Okay. Well, putting myself in the shoes of a tester, I'm thinking, okay, there's not that many Mercenaries in the game right now, so he's most likely going to be used with Inquisitors for the meantime. So let me boot it up with Inquisitors and see how this kind of plays out. And what are the first few battles I'm loading up? Well, the most popular counters to Riva, which, if we look at it, we have, whoops, Bane, Treya, Malgus, Hera. These are our 4 most popular counters. So I want to see if it changes any of those matchups and if the team is okay with the balance of how that changes. I don't understand how we're missing such obvious and such simple catches in game testing. And it's genuinely leading me to believe that there are no or very, very few game testers for this game. And it might genuinely be that there is not a game tester and that the devs are also having to test it, which is overworking the devs and is leading to a bad game experience for the players. This isn't the first time this has happened either. We had Omicrons recently, where Moff Gideon caused an infinite loop with his Datacron. We read that and knew that that was going to happen. Everyone in the community that pays attention to Datacrons was reading that and said, dang, that's going to be broken. We didn't even have to have the game to test it. And then the Ethkoth Datacron, which I already am upset about, was countering Galactic Legends and then gets this nerf that doesn't even seem to be what they were originally trying to address with a... They said there was some infinite loop with Mace and Kelleran Beck on a affix. They didn't even specify the Ethkron, but then this is the fix that they have for it. It doesn't make sense to me. The Rolo one, I understand. Not even the community caught that until like a year later or 2 years later. So I understand that. But this plus the Moff Gideon one, the Third Sister one with Moroq, the Punishing one now, and then even like the B2 thing. I remember I was doing a stream and I was theorizing some different teams that I thought would be good in the Naboo raid before it launched. And I was like, oh, B2 assisting and reducing the enrage, like this will work really well. This will be a great team. And then they come out with this and they're like, oh, this is not going how we expected it to. Well, did you test it? Genuinely. I don't understand what's going on over at CG with the testing, and it's becoming upsetting. And I'm working on a video for a Datacron review and a deep dive on all of the different Datacrons that we have in the game and which ones are going to be viable and which combinations of them are going to be there. And it just makes me feel like all of my work that I'm doing is going to be for naught because it's all just going to change, or it's not going to have been tested when it does launch, and things aren't going to work the way they're intended to, and I'm just going to have to make an entirely updated guide 2 months into the Datacron set because they're going to have changed everything. And so it's frustrating from a content creation perspective. It's frustrating from a player's perspective. I went and farmed my Ethkron and told people to farm the Ethkron, and now it's not useless, but it's so much worse than it was previously. I know plenty of people wailed to get the Gideon Cron, and now they're not. And the sentiment in my guild Discord is, for the Punishing one now, is, well, better wait to see what happens with it before I wail on it. Like, I'm in a guild of a lot of whales, a lot of people that spend money on this game, and all of us are like, well, guess we got to see what happens with it before we spend money on it. So it's affecting your bottom line, CG. You can't release things that aren't tested or change things as soon as you release them. I don't understand what's so hard about that. And I saw people in the SWGOH events Discord talking about review bombing the game and all that. And it's not going to work. They're not going to listen to that kind of feedback. If you want some feedback, Meathead is pretty active on the forums. You can reply respectfully. Keep in mind, Meathead is a community manager. He's not going to be able to just change things automatically. So be courteous in your feedback and don't take it out on the devs themselves. But there's got to be some overall structural changes that need to happen at CG to make sure that we're catching this stuff and testing. Anyways, Great Mother's Cron, still not nerfed, still the same way it was. Pretty much unbeatable by a lot of players. It's fun. And now Punishing one is going to get nerfed. So if you wailed on it already, sorry. If you haven't wailed on it yet, don't. Wait till you see what happens with these nerfs that potentially are going to come. I just don't understand. How are we investigating things that should have been tested thoroughly? Anyways, that's my rant for today. I usually try to keep it positive, so I apologize that we're kind of having a second rant in like the last month or so. But hey, I've got that Datacron video coming out hopefully this weekend on every single Datacron affix, how it ranks up compared to the other ones for that level, and then for each level 9 that's worthwhile, what should level 6 and 3 should you be shooting for? So look forward to that coming this weekend. I love you guys. Take care and peace.